In today's video, I'm going to share with you why I eat a plant-based diet. Hi everyone, my name is Amy with Eating Healthy, Spinning Less, and I'm so excited to share with you my story. I started Eating Healthy, Spinning Less, my blog, several years ago, where I posted lots of recipes, including meat and cheese, and I was on this gluten-free diet, so I was sharing all these gluten-free recipes. And then it was like all of a sudden, stress hit me. My husband was out of town for 2 weeks with my dad. I was involved in our church's vacation Bible school, and there was a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and the stress was eating me up. We had just finished our journey of being foster parents. I was dealing with a lot of behavioral issues from my kids, and it just like all hit me. And my body just said, I can't take this stress anymore. So when I share this story, please know most of it was stress induced. I believe that autoimmune is derived from stress in most cases. I had also been going to the chiropractor, and I had suffered an injury. So compiling all of that, I spiraled and I started experiencing severe joint burning in the back of my neck, my wrists, my shoulders, my ankles, and I was a total mess. I had severe pain in my upper back from that chiropractic adjustment. My nerves were like this. From the top of my head to the bottoms of my feet in my baby toe, I had twitching. I had severe just spider feelings all up and down my body. My mom was coming over, helping with laundry. She was feeding my kids for me, breakfast, lunch, and dinner mostly. So she was a help to me, but it was just devastating. And I struggled for months with this. And I'm thinking, I feel like I'm gonna die. I was in a very bad spot. My husband would help me get dressed in the morning because I couldn't lift my arms to put my shirts on. So he would help put it over my head and help me get my arms through. And then I was in bed so much. And I hated laying still because if I laid still, then everything would just start twitching, my thumbs, and oh, it was a mess. Well, I started drinking tons of milk. My mom was like, maybe you're vitamin D deficient. So I was drinking like 6 glasses of Organic Valley, vitamin D enriched whole milk every day, and I wasn't getting any better. My mom thought maybe you need more iron. So she started buying Costco steaks for me. I was eating lots of steak. I was drinking tons of milk and lots of chocolate, and I was barely surviving. I moved in with my parents so that my mom could help me with the kids, and my husband was home managing the house. Now, we were only 2 miles away. I was sleeping at my parents'. They were thinking, okay, it's stress, Amy, it's stress. My mom's like, it's just written all over the walls that it's stress. So I would take baths at my parents, sleep at my parents. If I couldn't sleep in the night, I would get in my mom's bathtub and take Epsom salt baths. I was doing anything and everything to get any relief. I could hardly walk, and I was just barely getting by, but I was getting by with the encouragement of my parents. My parents were praying over me. It makes me get teary, and I said I wasn't gonna get emotional. They anointed me with oil. My dad was an elder of the church at the time. My husband is a deacon, and my husband was a pastor. And so they anointed me with oil. My mom would pray over me every day. She kept saying, Amy, God keeps confirming you're not going to die of this. You're going to get over this. Your body will be restored. You're going to move past this. I lived with these symptoms in full force with little to no relief for a year before I started seeing relief. And the relief happened when I got rid of dairy. And all of the relief started happening when I went on a whole food plant-based diet. I went to the doctor and he tested me and said that I was ANA positive, but I did not test positive for lupus, arthritis, nothing. Everything that he tested me for, it was negative, except I was ANA positive. So he said, Amy, I want you to go home and for 3 months, you just focus on de-stressing your life. Pull back from everything and de-stress. So my mom encouraged me, Amy, email Dr. Esselstyn. So I did. That afternoon, I emailed him, and I promise you, within 2 hours, his secretary emailed me back and said, Dr. Esselstyn would like to talk to you. And within 30 minutes, I was on the phone with Dr. Esselstyn. I told him everything I was going through. I told him I wanted to be on a whole food plant-based diet. I wanted to follow his plan because even though he is a cardiologist, we know from research that a whole food plant-based diet does more than just reverse and prevent coronary artery disease. It can help with type 2 diabetes, autoimmune diseases. There's a plethora of diseases that can just dwindle and go away if we adhere to a whole food plant-based diet. I called him and I said, I need help. I need to know where to get started. I have been doing AIP, which if you know what AIP is, it's a no bean, no grain, no, lots of no's and lots of meat and vegetables. So he guided me through how to start implementing grains back into my diet. He helped me figure out that even though at that time I couldn't tolerate oats, I could tolerate quinoa. So he recommended I buy quinoa flour and quinoa and start just really eating that because it's a seed, not a grain. And then I was able to slowly start implementing different foods. And as I would implement them, I would get the burning in my joints, but then it would go away. So it took about 6 weeks for me to go from this no grain, no bean, full meat diet. It took that much time to get me to a whole food plant-based diet. In that process, beans, there were some beans that would make me react and I would get burning immediately in my joints, but then I realized there were beans that didn't affect me. I couldn't tolerate black beans for a while, but I could eat chickpeas. So it just took me some time to get to that point, and I got there and I was able to eat a whole food plant-based diet. But I knew that wheat was a very important food group, and so many Americans wiped it away when they went gluten-free. And I did the same thing. I had been gluten-free at that time for almost 8 years. And that is probably what did so much damage to my gut microbiome, was when I eliminated wheat. Wheat is so good for us, but a lot of us just don't eat proper wheat. I started implementing sourdough bread. That was where I got my love for sourdough bread. And that is what we still do to this day. I want to backtrack and tell you how I started this whole food plant-based journey, because it was overwhelming to think I had been eating all of these meat dishes. How do I stop? And what do I eat? So after I got off the phone with Dr. Esselstyn, my mom came and picked up all the kids and she said, I just want you to sit down and make a meal plan for 2 weeks. We'll help you. I'll help you. We'll do this meal plan. And I thought, okay, how am I going to do that? So we had the Preventing Heart Disease book, the original book, at my parents' house. So my mom brought it over and there's some recipes in the back. So I looked through that and then I got on YouTube and I typed in plant-based diet. And Jane Esselstyn came up and she has a YouTube channel. So I started just watching. I mean, it was hours of watching all of these videos on whole food plant-based recipes. I started menu planning breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 weeks. And that's how I did it. And now there's even more information. There's more doctors speaking out about this. There are so many whole food plant-based cookbooks now on the market. So I want to show you some of my favorite cookbooks, but then also let you know that there's so many more than this. This is a great one to start with, the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease Cookbook, and Jane and Ann Esselstyn are coming out with a brand new one this year, and I will be buying it. Fiber Fueled by Dr. Bolshewitz has some great recipes here in the back of the book. and has weekly grocery lists. It's amazing. He just came out with an amazing new cookbook, and I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, but I am definitely going to. Rip Esselstyn has the Engine 2 cookbook. This is a beautiful cookbook of amazing whole food plant-based recipes. This is another great one. If you have an Instant Pot, the Vegan Instant Pot cookbook, I love the recipes in this cookbook, and it's got beautiful pictures and it's wonderful. I highly recommend going to your library and checking these books out. Forks Over Knives has a great documentary that everyone should watch. I'll put a link for it below. This is also a really great cookbook. Forks Over Knives has quarterly magazines that are offered in health food stores. So these are just a few of the ones I have. They come out constantly and they are always so beautiful with tons of recipes. This is what you want to fill your plates with. Beans, which is probably the most healthiest food for you on the planet. Whole grains, sourdough, oats, rice, all of it. Fruits with lots of fiber. Get just a wide variety of fruit and focus in on those berries, especially blueberries. Those are so good for you. Lots of vegetables, like green leafy vegetables is something that I try and focus on every day, along with nuts and seeds, mushrooms. They're all good for you. So fill your plate with them every single day. Now, I am not cured by any means. If I go through something very stressful, my body's initial reaction is to have a little bit of burning in my joints or for me to feel flutters. But it's so rare. And as of right now, it only happens to me once a year, which is a very stressful month, years past, when we lost our baby girl. And that's a totally different story. But that month leading up to her birthday is the only time per year I still have a mild, and I mean very mild, flare-up. Autoimmune is debilitating, however your symptoms are. But there is hope. And the hope for me came with the whole food plant-based diet. I will not be going back. And I plan on eating a whole food plant-based diet the rest of my life. I have no problem with it. And I have come up with ways where I can still eat out and enjoy my life eating this way. If you are struggling right now, just know that you can have your freedom again and enjoy your life. I have a corresponding blog post that goes into much more detail into this on my website. I will leave a link for that below. But if you say, Amy, I just don't know where to start, I always say the same thing. Start with breakfast. Eliminate eggs and bacon and start eating oats. There are so many ways to eat oats. You don't have to have a bowl of oatmeal. You can have an oatmeal pancake. You can have oatmeal muffins or breads. There's all kinds of things that you can eat. And eat tofu. Soy in its whole form is so good for you. I love soy curls, tofu, tempeh. It's all delicious. So definitely check my website for more information. Now you might be asking, how did Troy, my husband, handle all of this, changing my diet and not eating meat? He was fully supportive of me, but he did say, I don't want to be on this diet with you like you are, where you're full force. And I completely understood. However, over time, I slowly stopped cooking any meat in the house, and he has become 100% supportive of a whole food plant-based diet. And he's almost a bigger advocate of it than even I am. However, he is not 100% whole food plant-based. He is about 85 to 90% whole food plant-based. Our 4 children are also not 100% plant-based. I would love for them to be, but they have learned from me all the health benefits of being on a whole food plant-based diet. My oldest daughter is 12 and a half, and I would say she is about 95% whole food plant-based, but she does like to have treats at church get-togethers or at school, and I completely understand. I want it to be their choice, not something that mom is pushing on them. However, at home, we eat whole food plant-based, but when they go out, they have the choice to eat what they want. Well, that's it for today, friends. I hope that you enjoyed this video and getting a personal glimpse into my life as to what I went through and why I eat this way. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. It really helps me out. Leave a comment below and let me know, do you struggle with autoimmune? What diet are you on? And are you considering a whole food plant-based diet? Well, I love making YouTube videos all about handcrafted recipes, using fresh ingredients in everyday living. And don't forget, this girl is on a budget. I will see you all in my next video, friends. Bye-bye.